How's it going, everybody? I hope you're doing well today. The beat I was just playing there is Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And I wanted to use this as an example to show you how you can start with a beat that you already know and start to make some changes to it and slowly but surely kind of turn it into your own idea. And we're almost like remixing the beat, so to speak. And this can help with like improvising, when you're just sitting down to improvise, especially if you're new to it, it can be a little daunting because you just feel like you have to start from scratch and invent something new, and it can just be overwhelming. So I'm here to kind of just show you today that you can just start with something that you already know, that's not your idea, and basically just make some changes, keep making little changes, and the next thing you know, you have an idea that's kind of your own that came from something else. And so, yeah, we'll use this beat as an example, but you could do this with any drum beat, anything you already know, any type of music. So, yeah, we're just going to use this one for today. So one of the first changes we can do is change the tempo. So this beat is originally at about 110 BPM. So what we could do is slow it down. Like I'm going to slow it down a bunch, but you could do whatever you want. If you had a beat that was already really slow, you could speed it up and basically just make some kind of tempo change. I feel like if you want to really take this idea and turn it into something completely different, I feel like you should make some kind of a tempo change. But that said, you don't have to, but this is just one of the things that I like to do. So I'm going to slow it down and play it a little bit slower, probably around 80 or so, and that would sound something like this. And so, still the same drum beat, but it's starting to change a little bit. So that's just step one. And there's no order to this, by the way. I'm just going through like kind of systematically. These are things that I notice that I do a lot of times without thinking about them. So I'm kind of just going through them today and showing you what I'm actually doing. And when you start doing this, the more you do it, you may not really think about it much. You might just start doing these things. Hopefully that's kind of the goal. And your vocabulary will kind of expand and it just gets easier. So basically so far we've taken the Led Zeppelin beat and we basically just slowed it down. And so one change. So what are some other things we could do? We could change the feel of it. And so this one is originally straight. So what happens if we start to swing it out a little bit? We'd get something like this. And so now you can see it's starting to just change that much more. And we haven't even like added any notes, taken anything out. It's still the same pattern. All we've done is slowed it down and started to swing it out a little bit. And so, just those two changes, that's taken on a new life, but it's still, give or take, it's still basically the same beat. We haven't really done much yet. So what are some other things we could do? One of the other things that I like to do is basically, I kind of just think of it as addition and subtraction. Do I want to add anything to this beat? Do I want to take anything out? And so let's try, let me just pull this up here. We're going to basically add an open hi-hat, because right now the hi-hat is just eighth notes. Even though we're swinging them out a little bit, they're basically just all closed. And so we're going to add an open hi-hat on the end of 4. And then we're going to take out a kick drum. We're just going to make those two changes. We'll take out the of 3 on the kick. So instead of going 3 and on the kick drum, we're going to go 3 and. We take out that And so just those two changes, the open hi-hat and the taking out the of 3 on the kick, that would sound like this. And some of those open hi-hats weren't all the way open, but you get the point. And so, that's starting to change now even more. It's like starting to slowly just, make a transition one at a time. Each time we do one of these things, it's like getting closer and closer to our own idea and just something that's different than what we started with. We slowed it down. We started to swing it out. We took out a kick, added an open hi-hat, just a few simple changes. But what are some other things that we could do? Another thing that I like to do is, change the orchestration. So what that means, if you're not familiar with orchestration or like orchestrating on the drums, is basically how you're playing it on the kit, where you're playing it. So this one is kick, snare, hi-hat right now. We're playing, and we're basically doing that, kick, snare, hi-hat. So I could move, say, the hi-hat to the ride. Just that one simple change is now going to be. And if you notice, what about the open hi-hat? So the way I think of it is if I'm on the hi-hat and I'm doing closed hi-hat and open, I think the equivalent of that on the ride is like just a regular hit on the bow. And then any open hi-hats, I'll hit the bell. So now it'd basically be... And, that's getting different, but what if we wanted to orchestrate it even a little bit more? So what if I wanted to incorporate, like, the tom-toms and maybe move, like, say, the of 2 and the of 4 that I'm hitting on the snare right now? I'm going like this. That right there, on the of 2 and 4. If I just move those to, like, say, the rack tom and then the floor tom, now I'm basically orchestrating the beat differently. I took it from kick, snare, hi-hat to kick, snare, ride with the toms. So that'd be like this. And so that's starting to sound different. It's definitely not the same as what we started with. It's similar, but it's different. And so what you can do from here is now I can start here. Like, this is kind of my starting point. It's already different, and I could start kind of embellishing on this, making some other changes. And as you do this more and more, like I was saying earlier, you'll kind of develop your vocabulary, and it just gets easier to kind of flow with this and start to change it some more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of groove on this for a little bit, and just a couple other ideas of, before I do this, of things you could do is you could change the how long the pattern is. So for this particular beat, it's just one measure long. It just loops that one measure. But we could turn this into like a 2-bar pattern, or a 4-bar phrase, or whatever we want to do, and that just gives us more options of things we can change throughout it. And so as a quick example of like a 2-bar phrase, maybe on the first bar I do all snare, and then the second bar I put in the toms. So that'd be something like this. And so now that pattern is just, twice as long. It's not so repetitive and monotonous, and it's just helping us change it up that much more. And so I'm just going to end here on, I'm just going to play you out, and I'm going to just groove on this for a little bit. I'll add in some fills and some different things that maybe will give you some other ideas of what you can do, but all I'm essentially going to be doing is, playing this general idea and sort of playing around with it, moving it around the kit even more, but a lot of these same concepts I'm basically going to be doing. I might try out some different ideas, but I'm going to try to keep it kind of in the vein of what we just did, and just see where it goes, see where it takes me. And that's kind of the beauty of improvising, is you get to make things up in the moment. So whatever I'm feeling right now, I'm just going to try my best to convey that here for you on the drums with this groove. So enough talk, here we go. hopefully you guys can use this to help yourselves come up with some new grooves and new ideas and see where it takes you. Try it with a different beat. You can use these same concepts, but you're going to get a completely different result. And the cool thing about this is everybody that does this is going to get a different result because we're all different. We all play different. So even if we all use the same kind of approach, everybody's going to kind of create their own idea. So the possibilities are limitless. Have fun with it, see where it takes you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.